Alright, what's going on, people? It is the Slightly Nocturnal show. Today is January 5th, 2017. I am Doc Holliday. I'm joined by Bo Machado. I'm exhausted. And this is our first show of 2017, so welcome to the new year. Welcome to Slightly Nocturnal show. Let's see. Want to shout out to TGN tonight, NVIDIA, and of course Kill Cobra Studios for sponsoring us tonight. What's going on, Bo?
Oh man, just chilling. Put a day in for the man. Now I'm putting a night in for me. That's how it works. One for them and one for you, right? Although I think the better way to do it's one for them and two for you.
Yeah, true that. I agree with that shit.
Sadly, the life very rarely works that direction.
Alright, so we are live. It's the first show of the year. And I am not supposed to be where I am at, but I am still fucking here.
Oh, because you love it.
So, I went to try to move, and I got to my house, and there was somebody in the house, and the realtor fucked me over, so this is where we're at. I came back to the place I lived, and we're going to try again. Not this weekend, but next weekend, hopefully. So.
Yeah. So. That's crazy, man.
It's a sucky
but
deal.
It's not as bad as it could be, right? Because, I thought you were living in Rocketman's garage when you told me that, your spot was rented out. I thought, oh, fuck.
Nope, it's not that bad, so it might get that bad. Let's have to see.
Yeah, let's hope it doesn't reach that level. Living in a garage in Wyoming in wintertime.
Let's hope not. Let's play the intro and get the show started.
Yeah.
Alrighty.
It's a quick intro, man. Will we use the Ric Flair music this time? Did you see that bastard deadlifting 400 pounds?
Mm-hmm.
67 years old?
I did see
that.
And
he's recovered. He broke his back when he was young. That's a strong, tough motherfucker right there, the nature boy.
It is. He's a strong motherfucker, that's for sure.
And then this summer, there's a 30 for 30 about him coming on ESPN. Did you see that shit?
Yeah, I saw the preview for it,
Yep. That shit looks good, if you like wrestling.
Oh, before I forget about it, let's do one other thing. Let's run the BoobTube Buddies promo. We'll run it here at the beginning, and we'll be right back. So you'll see me and Bo. You'll hear them, but you won't be able to hear us. So I'll be right back.
You didn't know we were ventriloquists.
That's right. All right, so let me get that score.
Cue us up.
The BoobTube Buddies are a group of men and women dedicated to bringing class to post-episode discussions of your favorite shows.
Whips, chains, he was up for anything. So he put on his patent black leather gloves and went to the party. Little did he know, there was no party. It was an elementary school and it was 11 a.m.
Thoroughly examining all the angles.
Man, Jurassic Park 3 was a real piece of shit.
But it had William H. Muffman in it.
Who's William H. Muffman? Did you just have a stroke when you said that name?
Sophistication and congeniality above all else.
That's how I feel every time I'm here, because she literally podcasts with her naked butt in my face the entire time. And I just really fell for Audrey at that moment.
I don't, but it wouldn't be surprising if I did, as I love to shock people with my nude body.
Don't be caught with your trousers down at the tea caddy the next morning.
Jerking uncontrollably and Claire pulls him out.
That's what Mothman does after he gets off the podcast.
Just jerk uncontrollably. To the sound of our own voices.
Oh, God.
Oh, man.
I fucking love post-editing.
The BoobTube Buddies are currently covering Westworld, The Walking Dead, Luke Cage, Ash vs. Evil Dead, and The Gilmore Girls. You can find them on any major podcasting app as well as boobtubebuddies.com or at BoobTubeBuddies on all social media platforms. Stay classy, little buddies.
All right. Well, there you go. Go watch the BoobTube Buddies. Say something, Bo, so I know you're on here.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you. Good stuff.
The Humpty Dance is a trance to the hump.
Why aren't you coming through? What? Say something again.
I don't know. Say something again.
Okay, there you are. All right. Cool.
All right. That's
All right.
cool. You just missed me singing the Humpty Dance. No,
Yes.
no problem.
All
I don't know why that damn song's in my head.
All right, so talk about something. I gotta run and piss real quick. So it's your show.
Talk
for a
about
few
anything?
minutes. Yeah.
Oh, Jesus.
I'll be back in a
It's
minute.
my show for a few minutes. All right. The heavy lifting's going on in Wyoming. All right. So, big news in the basketball world for the NCAA. Number 1 Villanova was downed at number 18 Butler. So, congrats to the Butler Bulldogs. Big win, even without the old ball coach Brad Stevens, who led them to a couple Elite Eights and Final Fours before becoming the Celtics head coach. If you're looking for a good basketball game to watch tonight, the triple-double Kings of the NBA are on. And I'm not sure. You have to look at your TV guide to find that out. But the Houston Rockets and the Oklahoma Thunder are playing. So you can see Westbrook and Harden go at one another. Former buddies in Oklahoma City. Still don't know how Oklahoma City let Harden and Durant get away from them. Imagine the team any basketball fans they could have there, boy. Could be something special. Let's see. Anybody who happens to follow my Twitter page might have seen that we're getting radio signals from some mystery planet in some mystery galaxy. So apparently ET's been trying to phone home. So watch for a boy on a bicycle flying through the air sometime in your near future, I guess. Let's see. Yeah, monster bursts of radio waves. So pretty interesting stuff there. In about 3 days, SpaceX is going to go ahead and launch a rocket ship. So Elon Musk is going to be getting back into the space exploration. And then anybody who's into robotics, Mayfield Robotics debuted a home robot, Curry, that uses Android and can do all kinds of shit around the house for you. So, and it looks like Eevee from the WALL-E Disney cartoon. So that shit's pretty interesting for people who are fans of home robotics and not the version that you have sex with.
Are you talking about sex robots again?
No, I was talking about the Mayfield robot that they're coming out with. Have you seen this?
Yep.
Yeah, that home robot. So I was saying for fans of robots that you don't have sex with, maybe that's a better alternative. Much less expensive. I think it's going for like $700 versus like $5 to $15,000. So better to pay $700 than $5 to $15,000.
So just a tidbit. Tonight will probably be a predominant sports related show, because we haven't had the show in over a week now. So there's lots of sports stuff, everything from the UFC, the NFL, and college football to basketball. Lots of stuff to catch up on. There will be some other stuff in there, but there's lots of big sports news that we'd like to cover tonight. So let's just jump on in then. Let's start with UFC 207. Just get this out of the way because I don't want to talk about it for very long. My girl Ronda Rousey.
I think we should talk about it.
Got her fucking ass. I watched the entire fight. It was a great fight card until Ronda Rousey fought, and oh my god, I was so disappointed. So
Yeah, I was saddened by it. And
I was, I guess I was prepared for her to lose, but not in that way. So
yeah, that's why I was sad about it. Because to me she's been a great champion. And so I don't know if you've watched like Colin Cowherd and Jason Whitlock's show. Like they have basically said that she wouldn't have been any good if she were a young fighter now, and that she only dominated the female sport because there was no real competition when she dominated it. Have you heard this shit?
no, but I thank God I haven't, because I highly disagree with that.
I disagree with that too. That's why I was asking. That's why I said I thought it was significant to talk about, because they were on their show basically saying that she was like a fake and like a media creation. And she's a badass chick. Nunez is just like something different.
There would be no female UFC at all if it was not for Ronda Rousey.
Right.
So,
and she's a tough chick.
And she proved over and over again that she's a badass bitch. Like, I don't want to fucking hear that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right. She just went up against something special, something different.
Well,
and in my opinion, she didn't have enough head movement. She didn't try to change levels in the fight to try to get a takedown. I know it's 48 seconds long, but if she hadn't let Nunez just pop her by being as still as she was, I think in her mind she didn't realize how powerful Amanda was. And so she didn't realize when she got hit with that shot that it was going to do the kind of damage that it was able to do.
That fight was over in 10 seconds. Like, she took one to the chin, and that it was like immediately it was over.
That's
you
my
could
point.
Look at
like,
it, so.
Like she didn't have good boxing defense. She didn't keep her head moving. She didn't keep her hands up. She took one I think she did it because she thought that she could do it. You know what I mean? She's a tough chick. She can get hit in the face and not be knocked out. Yeah. But apparently Nunez is something different.
Congrats to her for winning the fight, but she probably retired Ronda Rousey then and there.
I think so too. I think is kind of sad.
It is. It's sad. It's I don't think she'll bounce back from it like people want her to. I think that's probably it for her. And she'll go on to she'll probably be a movie star. She might be in the WWE.
Yeah. Oh yeah. She'll make plenty of money like she already has. So at least she'll have a nice life.
Her and her coach will set up a school somewhere. I mean, because
maybe not her coach. They've been calling that guy out left and right.
I think that they've been together for a long time, so we'll see if they can mend the bridges. And I don't know. I guess I assure you that you will see Ronda Rousey continue to participate in the UFC and MMA as a whole, but I don't think you'll see her as a fighter. So
yeah, well, she'd make a great commentator. I mean, she's good in front of a camera. We've seen that throughout her early career. Wow. It's just this last fight where she didn't want to do any real public speaking. So, and I think she made a mistake not having any kind of warm-up fight after all that time off before she fought Nunez. Now, having said that, I thought she was going to win the fight, even though there was a possibility of her losing. But
I was pretty sure she was going to win.
Ring rust is a real thing.
Yeah. It was disappointing to watch it. Although I did enjoy watching Dominic Cruz get his ass beat for 5 fucking rounds. So
yeah, I saw that on replay. And I don't know that I enjoyed it, but I will say much respect to Cody, who was a way, 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 way better fighter than I gave him credit for. I thought he was a tough bastard who knocked people out, but man, his movement skills to go with this knockout ability, he might be special, like Conor McGregor's special right now. I know that's your favorite word, Doc. Special.
If you've never watched Dominic Cruz fight before, go back and watch him any fight, and he has a different type of style, and he is constantly on the move, and he's probably one of the quickest guys besides Mighty Mouse in the UFC, just as far as movement. And
I feel like this was his best fight, though.
Well, it might have been, but this guy...
Because you look at the level of competition and the way he outperformed Cruz, and Cruz is a monster.
Wait a minute, you're saying who was the best? It was the
Cody.
best fight for?
I'm saying I think it was Cody's best fight.
Oh, I agree with that. I'm saying like Cruz. Yeah. If you go back and watch Cruz's any fight, he has a different he is constantly on the move. He's quick as fuck, and Like, so, and this kid literally ran circles around him in the ring. He knocked him down. I think it was 10 knockdowns, I think, if I remember right. 10 or 8.
That sounds right.
And, Cruz had that never happened to Cruz before. And it just kept happening over and over again. And I think Cody could have ended the fight in the 3rd round when they knocked him down the first time.
Yeah, a lot of people think he just wanted to punish him.
I think he didn't want to. I think he wanted to beat his ass. All the shit that those guys talked to each other. And, how much Cruz told, basically Cruz just gave him no respect.
He did.
And, it made for a better fight that way. But I think he made Cruz pay for all that shit that they talked to each other.
Oh, well,
and then they're like, in the ring, they were talking to each other, whispering sweet nothings in each other's ears. It was a good fight.
Well, I will say, for a guy who talks as much shit as Cruz and does all the interviews and media, he was a very gracious loser.
I agree. I watched his post-fight interview. He was banged up pretty bad, and he literally said that he was the better fight. And now the way he said it, let's see. He said that Cody was the better fighter today. So, and that's, he gave Cody his due. So that's, and that's true. Cody was the better fighter that day. So, right. And to me, fighting in UFC and the MMA is kind of like college football, where I think any given day, any team can get the W.
Oh,
so
sure.
Shit can happen.
I don't know that that's always true in football as much as it is in fighting, because in fighting it only takes one shot.
Yeah. In
football,
it's the same way though. Somebody makes a mistake, it could be like the game-losing mistake. So
yeah,
even if it's in the first quarter.
Time, like in Alabama, doesn't typically get beat by somebody. They don't typically get beat by anybody. Although I do think Clemson's going to beat them. But like you look at the dominant teams in college football, and they rarely get beat by a team that shouldn't be able to beat them. Whereas if you look at a fighter, you might have a fighter who has like 7 or 8 losses in their career, but they're really good at this one thing, and they catch this undefeated fighter at the one thing they're good at, and they win the fight.
A perfect
you don't
example
see that
of
kind
that
of in much other things.
Is the Diaz-McGregor fight. Like, that's a perfect example of
it. Yeah, exactly.
So,
exactly.
You just get fucking taken to school. So, you get dinged one time, and same with Ronda Rousey. Like, she sat there and took a punch that she had no business taking, and that was it. I mean, literally, that fight was over in 10 seconds. It took the 38 other seconds to put her away, but there was no coming back from that shit, so.
Right, which shows, like, how tough she is and what kind of shot and chin that she actually has.
Yeah.
The fact that that she was able to stay on her feet to try to stumble around and regain her composure after it really get like blown up right on the button.
And people, I guess if you've never been in that situation, you don't really know how long like 38 seconds is. Like, it's a fucking long time to sit there and get your ass beat up, and try to recover. So.
Yeah,
if you want an example of it, the best thing to do is like smash your head on the wall or spin in circles and then try to walk in a straight line for fucking 30 seconds. Like, that's the best example I can give.
Remember the old game with the baseball bat? I don't know.
Yeah, you like put your head on the bat and put it to the ground.
Yeah.
And spin. Yeah.
Yep.
Like, that's the thing.
And then try to walk for 30 seconds.
Yeah. Like, it seems like it's forever. So. But yeah, I mean, there was a lot of good fights. Of course, this year the new rules take effect in the UFC, where you can knee downed opponents if they have one hand off the ground. So if they got 2 hands on the ground, you can't knee them. I'm really looking forward to that because it's a fucking stupid ass rule.
Well, they're gonna split some wigs, buddy. Some people's heads are gonna get busted open by knees.
Yep. So. I'm looking forward to it because in Pride, it's always, if you go back and that's why it makes Pride, I think that separates Pride from the UFC is the rules, and Pride is just way more vicious. So I think you're gonna see some nasty knees, and they'll probably the term knockout artist. They'll probably somebody's gonna coin the term fucking the knee artist here soon. Some people are gonna have some nasty knees. So
yeah,
I think you're going to see a lot of more broken chins and broken cheekbones.
Yeah, like your orbital.
I think
in here.
I think you'll see that. If you go back and look at old Pride fights, there's a lot of like eye socket and cheekbone surgeries that go on over there because of that.
Mm-hmm.
So the same with broken noses. People will have that build up. And most fighters have big, huge cartilage build up in their knees. I've got it in mine, and it just makes your knee harder, and you can deal out more damage to it. So
Sure. Well, knees and elbows both. Like that's why Muay Thai is so vicious.
yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the rule change. So, and I'm sure what's his face, the first fight of the night, wish the fight would have been fucking 6 days later, because he would have got away with that shit. Tim Means got DQ'd for fucking knees.
Yep.
So, but whatever. So
Yeah, you gotta know when the rules actually come into effect.
so right now, one of my other favorite fighters right now is the champ over in in the World Series of Fighting. John Fitch. I think he's the only guy that I think he beat George St. Pierre.
GSP? I knew that you were gonna say that.
I think he's the only guy that legit beat him and got robbed of that. So
I don't know. Wasn't the Hendricks GSP fight really?
I don't think I don't
his
deem
last
it as
one?
close as that Fitch fight. Like,
Really?
yeah, and I think I probably take a little more to it because I lost a lot of money on that fight. I lost like $6,000 on that fight. So, and that night was an interesting night for me. I got super drunk, decided to drive home, and I ended up. The last thing I remember, I was leaving, and when I woke up the next day, I was behind Best Buy, and my truck was halfway up on their loading dock, and both my phones were in the parking lot. So that's where I woke up. That was a fucking interesting fucking day. So Fitch is the current World Series of Fighting welterweight champion, and he's thinking about retiring. He's been beat up a lot. He's 38 years old.
That's old for any professional athlete in pretty much any sport other than golf.
Yeah, and so the reason he cited that he may retire is he just got an MRI done, and it came back funny. So I'll just spell that out for you. What that means is there's black spots that came back on the MRI.
Probably traumatic brain injury.
That's not good. I've got them. I think you've got some too, right?
Yeah.
So it's just important to take care of yourself. So.
Some of that, I broke my back before.
There's just, that you get to a certain point where
it's tough,
you don't
man.
need to prove anything to anybody. Everybody knows John Fitch is a bad motherfucker. He's had a good run. He's 38 years old, and he's got a family. So it's time to take the money and spend some time with the family and maybe start a gym, coach, do something else. So
yeah. Well, the human face and head is not meant to get pummeled over and over again.
No, you can. A perfect
It's
example.
just not meant for that.
Is Ali, so you look at Ali in his last, probably 10, 15 years. Every time you saw him, he had Parkinson's and he just had the shakes, and that shit comes from getting punched in the head repeatedly. So that's what that shit is from. So,
Yeah.
but I like John Fitch. I'm glad that he understands it's time to go. I wish BJ Penn would take a fucking page out of that book.
Well, and he's involved with the fighter union and like fighters' rights and stuff too. So I think he'll probably transition, like, kind of head first into that kind of role.
Yeah, you might see Fitch become a big like MMA union, like big wig, so like a corporate man, which would be a good thing. Fitch has a lot of experience, so he's
well respected in the game.
Yeah, and he's been in multiple organizations. He's been in the UFC. He was with the WEC. Now he's with the World Fighting Championship. So, he has a broad knowledge. He'll be an asset to that team. So,
yep.
Penn is coming back to fight again, and I don't want to see that. I love BJ Penn. I don't want to see him get his ass beat anymore.
I like Penn too.
Who's
he fighting?
I don't even know. But he came, he was done for like a year or two, and then he came back and fought a nobody, and this nobody whooped his ass,
right?
I
Because he's
don't
just
wanna
been hit
see
too
that
many
shit.
times, man.
I just don't want to see.
He needs to do that grappling shit, like Jones and Henderson did.
Yeah. I don't want to see him get
Or-
his ass beat. I don't like watching the greats, get beat up. So, Penn,
Yeah, it's
take
tough.
a fucking just bask in retirement and stay in Hawaii and do your thing, bud. Run your gym, share your knowledge with people. So.
Well, and there's like a professional jiu-jitsu league too, right?
Yep, yep.
Yeah, like maybe do some shit like that where he's not gonna get punched in the face so much.
Yeah, so he's gonna come back and fight. Let's see.
So I was trying to find that. Jeff Mayweather? No, that's different. Let's see. Find all kinds of stuff about him, but not who he's gonna fight next. Did you find it anywhere?
Not yet. I
Say
just
Google
see
pulled
like
a bunch of shit up, but it didn't pull up his next fight. I'd put BJ Penn next fight.
January
Oh, here we
21st
go.
is. Go ahead.
Yeah, Yair Rodriguez.
Okay. Yeah.
It's a UFC fight night, so that's a free fight.
Yeah.
Fox
Free
Sports 1.
fight. Yep. And then I just seen where I didn't know this, but I guess January 21st is going to be Tito Ortiz's last fight. He's retiring. So.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
There's another dude who should retire though. Like Tito shouldn't be fighting anymore.
Yeah, Tito should not be fighting. I think he's gonna fight Chael Sonnen, right? So
Yeah, I think that's the right. And I think Sonen's gonna beat him.
I would probably agree with that. I don't want to see that, but I just look. Goddamn, I just saw pictures of his weigh-in. Holy fuck, he looks amazing.
Tito
Tito
Chael?
looks like he's in great shape. So, but Tito's had a lot of neck surgeries too. He's got screws in his neck, so hopefully that fight ends up going all right. So we'll see. So
Yeah, when's that fight?
January 21st.
For 170, January 21st.
Yeah.
So according to Tito Ortiz, Sonen's gonna shit himself and drown in his own blood.
We are talking about Chael Sonnen. Like, everybody, let's not forget that Chael Sonnen almost beat Anderson Silva's. He beat him up for 5 fucking rounds.
When Silva was unbeatable. I mean,
Yes.
it wasn't like the older Silva who people were. Not that he's easier to. I mean, not that he's easy to beat, but I mean, it was a different Silva when he fought.
Yeah, and Chael Sonnen literally beat his ass for 5 fucking rounds. So, Chael Sonnen is a dangerous man. So.
But Sonen's 39 and Ortiz is 41.
I'll watch the fight. It'll be a good fight either way. Hopefully, it won't be over quick.
Yeah, depending on how much punishment your boy Ortiz can take, man.
I don't know. I mean, he was the finesse. He created the whole ground and pound game. Like, that man created that shit. So I don't know how much ground and pound he can take anymore. And Chael Sonnen is gonna want to stand up with him. So.
Yeah, I think so.
And
That's the way to beat Tito.
Yeah, and I think Tito will probably want to take him to the ground. So whoever can impose their will the quickest will probably win that fight. So, let's see. Anything else about the UFC before we move on?
Nothing big I can think of.
All right, so let's go to college football real quick.
Yeah.
So Washington lost to Alabama. I'm really not going to talk about any more bowl games unless you want to. And then, of course, Ohio State
That's okay.
lost to Clemson. So.
Well, we can talk about, since you brought that one up, and what was it, 31-0, I think?
The Ohio State game?
Yeah. Didn't Clemson beat them 31-0? Like, it was the first time Urban Meyer had a team shut out in a major game.
It was a fantastic game. All you
So-
fucking Ohio State fans can fucking suck a cock. Like,
But perhaps
this
the
is what
greatest
you deserve.
college bowl game was the Penn State USC game in the Rose Bowl.
It was a good game too. Yeah.
So, and I think that basically after Ohio State got drubbed the way they did, you could make a bit of an argument that maybe USC or Penn State should have perhaps been able to jump up in there.
I fucking told you people this. I fucking told
But
you people.
Well, you go on, the better record and the better regular season, man. That's why they need a bigger
Oh, yeah.
playoff, which
Oh,
we
yeah.
both have said.
Yeah.
If they were in a 6 or 8 team playoff, both Penn State and USC would have been in there. And that game, rather than being a great Rose Bowl, would have been a great playoff game.
Penn State proved where they belonged. So it's just, it was sad to see that. A lot of teams got upset. West Virginia got beat by Miami. Louisville got beat by LSU.
Yeah, that was a pretty big upset too, because LSU had lost 4 games this year or something.
Yep. Stanford barely beat North Carolina, which I thought they were going to beat the brakes off of them. Florida State beat up on Michigan. So
yeah, that was the big shock.
Mm-hmm.
Because Michigan was another one of those teams that could lay claim to saying, hey, we should have been in that top 4, but apparently they should not have.
Northwestern beat the socks off of fucking Pittsburgh, which was what the fuck happened there? And then K-State beat Texas A&M. That was, to me, that's a shock because, K-State's known for their basketball, not their fucking football. And then they go in and beat a good football team, so.
Yeah. They've had some
Oklahoma
good football
State.
team, though, with Bill Schneider as their coach.
Oklahoma State beat Colorado. So, yeah, there were some games that shocked me. So,
yeah.
Georgia beat TCU, which I was shocked about that because.
Really?
Yeah, and I guess so. We're gonna get into this in a minute. So,
all right.
I think that Georgia, they probably needed to win that game because they have a new coach that came from Alabama. So I want to talk about this Lane Kiffin thing real quick too.
Sure.
So Lane Kiffin got a coaching job for Florida Atlantic. He got the offer, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. He began recruiting, I guess, in between the regular season and the first playoff game, which, if you go back and look, every Alabama coach that has left, so the current Georgia, I don't know the names, but the current Georgia Bulldogs coach was a former Alabama coach.
Kirby Smart? Is that
Kirby,
who that is?
that's who it is. Kirby was on the Alabama coaching staff. He finished out the year with Alabama while recruiting and his staff under Nick Saban. I don't
think he had boned Nick Saban's daughter.
You don't really.
I think Lane Kiffin at one point boned Nick Saban's daughter.
You don't think that happened, do you, sir?
I do believe that was what was said.
So, and then
just saying, maybe played a role.
Jim, what's his name? The Colorado State's coach. He was the other offensive coordinator that went to, that left but stayed in the Alabama's win over LSU in the BCS Bowl game. So it was, I think that Nick Saban and Lane Kiffin don't get along, but to Nick Saban's credit, Nick Saban went and got Lane Kiffin after all his bullshit. He kind of picked him up out of the trash pile and put him to work.
Because he's a good offensive coach, man.
And in the SEC,
he was good at Tennessee.
Yeah, they've been very successful together. So it was. I hate to see Lane Kiffin leave like that because they can say whatever they want about it was they left amicably because of course Lane Kiffin's not going to be at the game in the coaching.
I think Nick Saban's a dick, man.
I do too. I think Nick Saban is a dick too, but you can't argue with that coaching style he has. I mean, he's proven time and time
he's
again.
a good fucking coach.
He's a good coach.
I just think he's a dick as a person.
Yeah, I think so too. I know that he is he rules with an iron fist, and they work hellacious hours. So that's just what he's known for. So if you're gonna get in bed with Nick Saban, this is the things you got to know about. So, but it's just odd that he's got fired from a job that he'd already quit, basically. So,
yeah. Especially after already coaching one of the it'd be different. I think had he not coached the game against Washington, if they would have said, "Look, you took the head coaching job. We wish you well. we're going to go ahead and promote Steve Sarkisian, who's going to be the new coordinator for the Crimson Tide. We're going to go ahead and give him the play calling duties for the playoffs.
Yeah.
Like if they would have done it before the playoffs actually started,
Yeah, I agree.
not as big a deal. But they actually had him as the coordinator for a game, and then before the big game, they're like, well, peace out.
That game is tonight, right? It's going on right now.
Oh no, I don't think so. I think it's Monday night, isn't it?
I saw all kinds of previews for it. Maybe
I think
it
it's
is
Monday.
on. I don't know what the fuck. YouTube
think
was
it's
telling
like
me
for
that
Monday
it was
Night Football.
going on tonight. That's crazy. Maybe not then.
I'm gonna look it up because I think it's Monday night. I think it's Monday Night Football.
It is
this year.
Monday, January 9th. Yep.
Yeah, I thought it was because it's gonna be on like the NFL normally had Monday Night Football. Instead of Monday Night Football, it's basically the national championship that night.
They still have 1,831 tickets available, and they are starting at $1,100 a piece. So
We
Get your
need to
fucking
get
tickets.
press credentials.
that's right, bitch. We do. That's right. That game is gonna happen in Tampa, Florida, so it'll be nice and warm down there for you folks. So
It's kind of midway too between
yeah, they try to
Tuscaloosa
pick
and
a neutral location. So
yeah.
so you think Clemson's gonna take it to Alabama?
I do. Well, I don't know if they'll take it to them, but I do think they're going to beat them. They had them on the ropes last year, and Alabama got them with that onside kick.
Yep.
And it changed the tide of the game. So this year, I think that Clemson's going to get them. Old Dabo Swinney's going to win himself a national title.
I hope so. I don't like Clemson because I'm a Carolina Gamecocks fan, but I fucking hate Alabama. So I'm definitely gonna cheer for Clemson on this one. So I hope they win.
Yeah.
So I pulled
Yeah, I
for them
hope they do
last year too. So I mean anything to beat the reigning champs. So. And they're a dynasty college football team. They've been champs for a long fucking time. They may not lose. They may not win it every year, but they're always there. So.
Well, I think they've been in the playoffs every year that they've had the playoffs.
Yep. So I don't want to hear no more bitching, Nick Saban, about the playoff system. You're fucking there. So.
You know why he's complaining? Because he's got to play one more game than he wants to.
Yeah, that's exactly why, and that's why he doesn't want to get in a bigger playoff system because he don't want to play any more games. So.
Because he might get upset. He wants the fucking easy path, man. Like he gets his second team's as good as most people's first team. So every year he's like 1 or 2, and so he just wants to have to play the other team. He doesn't want to have to do any fucking hard work other than recruit and play the regular season. And there was a cool article. I should have posted it somewhere when I read it, but it was on ESPN about how they could make college football way more exciting by getting rid of a lot of these silly bowl games, as well as the conference championships.
Oh, we talked about that, yeah.
Well, yeah, but it was written by a guy who used to be in debate club, like a competitive debate club.
Yeah.
And it talked about the way debate clubs do their playoffs, and it talked about setting up regular seasons where they're like 9-game regular seasons, and you might play the same teams in your conference, like. Rather than having a set schedule where you're real good and you play the scrub teams, like it's always it goes off. I'm doing a terrible job of describing this article I read. So it goes off how good your team is, and the example he used is like in the Big Ten. So Penn State wouldn't have played like a shitty team. Instead, they would have played like an Iowa, an Ohio State, Michigan. Like all the good teams would have played all the good teams. And then all the mediocre and bad teams would have played the mediocre and bad teams, with a few mediocre teams jumping up to play the good teams. And it would be based on like how good you are. So like a 2-0 team would always play another 2-0 team, and an 0-2 team would always play another 0-2 team or a 1-1 team.
Okay, yeah, that makes sense.
And it would be a 9-game regular season in your conference, and there would be no conference championships or anything, and then it would roll into an actual college football playoff. And all the best teams would then qualify because the strength of their schedule, you would have eliminated the teams that were weaker teams in your conference just through natural attrition, because the good teams would have beat one another, or a real good team would have beat the other good teams, and they'd beat the teams that went.
Yeah.
So it's a really cool article about how they could potentially make college football way more exciting, expand the playoff system, and get rid of non-competitive football games. So again, it's somewhere on ESPN.com. I apologize for not remembering the name of the writer, but he was a debater. He was a master debater.
A master debater. A masturbator.
I know. I resisted the urge. I remember being in college and we created these signs and hung them all over the campus that said "Expert Fisherman in search of masturbator." Oh, the dumb shit you do in school.
Yeah, I hear you. So, that game is on Monday. I look forward to that. All right, so let's go to. Let's just touch on college basketball real quick. The only big thing I was going to talk about was Grayson Allen's back playing for Duke. He only missed one game, so I was very surprised to see that.
Yeah, they said that. So I read some stuff about that. They said the main reason that happened is because Coach K was going out for back surgery, and he wanted him back before he left. Having said that, that's not much of an indefinite suspension.
Yeah, I agree with that. So I'm a huge Duke fan, but I also like the sport, and sportsmanship to me is important. So
Well, and I think having lost their first in-conference game to Virginia Tech, I think that's who they played and lost to, who everybody expected they would have no problem with. I think that loss helped hurry along that indefinite suspension.
I agree.
Because it showed just how meaningful Grayson Allen was to the team and how competitive the ACC as a basketball conference is. So, and again, we talked about the Iowa coach, right, who refused to shake hands and took his players to the locker room.
Yeah.
Well, he didn't get in any trouble.
I saw that. I've been trying to keep up with that. Yep.
If you have a coach like that who behaves that way and gets in no trouble, then maybe you can look at Grayson Allen and say, he was suspended, he tripped a kid. Maybe that's enough.
Justice was served.
If you allow coaches to get away with whatever. And I'm honestly a fan of, on the court justice. Somebody just commit a hard fucking foul on the dude. Undercut him, take his legs out, do whatever, and then call it a fucking day. I feel like the players can mete their own justice out. You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, fuck. So trip him back.
Yeah. So, so I don't have anything else to say about college basketball right now. So.
Yeah, well, I said when you were in the bathroom taking care of the heavy lifting, I talked about the fact that Villanova, who was number 1, had lost to Butler last night, so that was kind of a big deal.
Yep.
And they had won 20 games in a row, which was the longest win streak in NCAA Division I men's basketball. So that's a big deal for Butler. But those were the only things that I had about the NCAA. It's still, the NCAA doesn't matter until tournament time. Whether it's, conference tournaments and then NCAA March Madness or whatever, basketball in general, they play so many games.
Before the tournament this year, we need to sit down and on one of the shows, and I want to fill out a card, both of us.
Oh, do our own bracket?
Yeah, we'll need to do that live, and then we'll
post
it.
We can do that.
And then I always do the NIT every year. I love the NIT, even though it's a lower class thing than the regular tournament. But I enjoy the NIT almost as much as I do the regular tournament. So
the issue with the March Madness, though, the more you know, the less well you do.
It's very true. I watched a lady in my office. I knew girls in high school, man. Yeah.
Oh, you go ahead and I'll tell you.
Yeah, I watched a lady in my office get every single game right except one, and she knew nothing about.
How did she pick the teams?
Just at random. She just fucking.
Okay, so this girl who got like almost the entire tournament right one year when I think I was a senior in high school, when I had this cool math teacher who let us do it as part of our math class. And
it's a probability and statistics thing. Totally math. Well, I agree with that.
But she picked a winner based on like which animal or mascot was more powerful than the other animal or mascot.
Holy crap.
And she literally, I think she had 2 games wrong. So, yep. So at 19,
I watched this lady. She got and the only game she got wrong was one of the It was a game that didn't even matter in the end. It was one of
the play-in game.
It was a play-in game. Yeah. It was
like the 12-12.
Because she picked them to lose right away anyway, so it didn't matter. Like she got the rest of. I watched her sit there and win the rest of. I was like, God damn, we should have let you go on like ESPN and do the free $1 million bracket or something.
Oh man, I had such high hopes when I did that bracket too. Back, what was that, 2012 or 13?
Yeah.
That
Warren Buffett put up all that money.
Yeah, it was him and the guy that owns the Cleveland Cavaliers, the Quicken Loans guy.
Yep.
Dan something. So yeah, man, I had such high hopes. Didn't work out for me. Didn't work out.
So, I want to talk too real quick. I watched a documentary last night about Dennis Rodman.
The Worm.
So I like Dennis Rodman. I always have. He's an odd person. I am not a huge fan of the Bulls during that dynasty reign because they beat up on my Pacers all the time. But
they beat up on everybody.
This is true. I didn't know about Dennis Rodman, a whole lot about him prior to the Bulls. So he was on this team.
He was on the Bad Boys Pistons.
Yeah, so I learned about that last night. And they were rough motherfuckers. Like,
oh yeah.
Apparently, like, they used to just like beat the crap out of people. They had all this footage of Rodman.
They gave Scottie Pippen concussions in back-to-back playoff seasons when the Bulls played them in the playoffs.
So there was this big discussion on the Bulls where they were almost all together on, you know, getting having a great season, but they were missing one key element, and all the coaching staff kept coming back to they needed somebody. Just like in hockey, how there's a goon, an enforcer.
Yeah, good. Yep.
So they basically they kept coming back to we need Dennis Rodman. You know, there wasn't another person there wasn't somebody that was equal to Rodman. They needed Dennis Rodman. So I guess I don't remember whose house they went to, but like they Scottie Pippen, Michael Jordan, Phil Jackson, and Dennis Rodman, and one other person came to this house, and they were like. Phil set Dennis Rodman down and was like, do you want to play basketball for the Chicago Bulls? And Dennis Rodman told him, I don't give a fuck where I play basketball. And Phil's like, okay, then you need to apologize to Scottie Pippen, and we'll move on from there.
For the Detroit Piston years. That's right, man.
So he took Scottie Pippen outside. They talked for 2 minutes, and Scottie Pippen said everything was fine. He came back in the house, and this was like a 3-way interview between Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman. And so they're all telling this story, and it was all the same story. He said that he came back in. Phil Jackson looked at Michael Jordan and was like, are you okay with Dennis Rodman being on the team? And Michael Jordan's like, I don't care. I just want to win games. And he's like, he's what we need. So,
and Rodman was a genius too, because he did something that very few people will do. He said, you know, I'm gonna be great at defense and rebounding, and he literally put his entire focus on being great at like the 2 most underappreciated skills in the NBA.
Yeah. So Dennis Rodman averaged 3 points while playing with the Bulls, but he had like 20 rebounds and 10 steals. Like that's what his numbers were. So Phil Jackson, they get done in this house. Pippen's okays it. Jordan's okay with it. Rodman and Pippen has to apologize to it. And Phil Jackson's like, okay, welcome to the Bulls. He's like, how much money do you want to get paid? And he's like, he told him again, he's like, I don't give a fuck. I just want to party and play basketball, and I don't want you to fuck with me he's like, I do not want you to talk to me when we're not playing basketball. And Phil Jackson's like, okay, that's fine. And the big thing about it is that Jordan, Pippen, and Rodman all said that they never talked to Rodman unless it was on the basketball court. Never. In 3 years, they didn't say a word to each other unless it was on the court.
They're such different personalities that makes total sense that they would have had no off-court relationship.
Oh, yeah. Somebody's asking me how. Yeah, I didn't move yet. I tried to move and it didn't fucking happen. If you go back to the beginning of the show, I explain it, Linz. I didn't get moved. I'm trying again next week. So, But yeah, Pippen and they were like an amazing team. Steve Kerr and Isaiah Thomas was he on
B.J.
that team too?
Armstrong. No, he was on the Pistons that they hated. Yeah. But I think the 72-win team had Tony Kukoc and Ron Harper.
That's right,
were like the
Kukoc.
other two
That's
starters, or
That's right.
Kukoc was the sixth man. So they had B.J. Armstrong, they had Steve Kerr, they had Vinny Del Negro at one point. Who else did they have? Luke Longley, the big Australian center. They had Bill Cartwright on one of those teams, or a couple of those teams.
They showed footage of him during the playoffs with Karl Malone, Dennis Rodman, and Karl Malone.
Oh yeah,
Dennis Rodman would there was one game where Dennis Rodman took Karl Malone to the floor 6 times in a row within a matter of 20 seconds. Karl Malone would go to get up, and so would Dennis Rodman, and it looked like they tripped over each other.
Yeah, well, he was sneaky, man. He was a sneaky fucking dude.
Dennis Rodman was like a fucking enforcer for the Bulls. He would throw his body around no matter what, So it was just interesting to watch that.
So Michael Jordan's teammates during those championship runs were Scottie Pippen, B.J. Armstrong, Bill Cartwright, Horace Grant, Stacey King, John Paxson, Will Perdue, Scott Williams, Randy Brown, Judd Buechler, Jason Caffey, Ron Harper, Steve Kerr, Tony Kukoc, Luke Longley, Dennis Rodman, Dickie Simpkins, Bill Winnington, Craig Hodges, the 3-point shooting champion for folks who used to tune into the dunk and 3-point contest. Yep. Dennis Hobson, Cliff Levingston, Bobby Hansen, Chuck Nevitt, Mark Randall, Rory Sparrow, Ricky Banton. Many of these people only played one season. Joe Courtney, JoJo English, Rodney McCray, Rodney. Ed Neely, Trent Tucker, Darrell Walker, Corey Williams, James Edwards, Jack Haley, John Sally, who was also one of those bad boys. Robert Parrish, who was the chief from the Celtics. Matt Steganga, Brian Williams, who changed his name to Bison Dele. Yeah, I don't know if you remember all that or not.
I do.
Keith Booth, Scott Burrell, Joe Klein, Rusty LaRue, and David Vaughn. So out of all those guys, Jordan and Pippen were the only guys that were on all 6 of the title teams. So any of the other guys were only on 1, 2, or 3 of those teams.
The Bulls got Rodman when they pivotedly needed him, and he did exactly what they paid him to do.
So. And they won their third. I think it was the last 3 with Rodman. In the first 3, they had Horace Grant, if I remember right.
Yep. So, and Dennis Rodman, he was just. I think he had a psychological effect on teams that they'd play against. He dressed weird. He always had crazy fucking hair. And
he grabbed people's crotches and stuff, man.
Oh yeah, slap people.
He did more than dress weird. He did a lot of weird stuff out there.
Yep, he slapped people. He would in one game he hit Karl Malone in the ass 12 times, slapped him on the ass. He just did. He always taking his shirt off after the game and tossing it. He just did stuff that people was not common. He would take his
sneakers off on the side. He'd go when he was on the bench. He would take his sneakers off and sit there in just his socks.
Yep.
I don't know if you remember that or not, but I always remember that was the weird thing. Rodman, whenever he wasn't playing, he'd be on the side with his sneakers off.
So I think he did it, whether that's his style or not, I think it had a psychological effect on people. This dude is motherfucking weird. Get him away from me,
Sure.
So. All right, but that's enough about that. We're going to run out of time here, and there's other things we want to talk about here. So,
all right. Yeah, let's get to them.
So let's move right into the NFL. Playoffs are coming up here.
Wild card weekend, Saturday and Sunday.
I watched ESPN pick 'em the other day, and they've got the Pats and the Cowboys at the end. Of course, with the Pats winning the Super Bowl, I think the
Pats and Giants are going to be there, man.
I'd have to agree with that. So I think the Packers can beat the Giants. So
you're praying, dude, just like New England's praying. The Giants are like that one team that I guarantee you guys don't want to see.
The fucking Cinderella team, man. So, there was an article today or yesterday about how the Cowboys have their big resurgence has saved the NFL ratings and reputation. Go over on Bloomberg News and read that if you want to. It's pretty interesting about that. So.
Well, Zeke Elliott's a special running back. So, and Dak Prescott has been a special quarterback this season anyway. So seeing two young guys that are as good as that. Well, I mean, he is. I know you don't like that word, dude, but he's an incredible talent. So substitute incredible, substitute whatever you want.
It's all good, man.
But Zeke Elliott, and you're a Cowboys fan, so you should appreciate his specialness.
I appreciate that he is an outstanding player right now for the Cowboys.
Yeah.
So I think the Pats are going to win the Super Bowl
NFL
this year. So.
Yeah, I agree. They're significantly better than everybody else right now, in my opinion.
But yeah, so good luck to who's playing in the wild card this weekend.
So Oakland and Houston are in a rematch of a game that was in Mexico City. That I think Derek Carr threw 3 touchdowns in. And Oakland won 27-20 in Mexico City.
I got Oakland winning that game again.
Well, there's no Derek Carr now. He broke his fibula. Mm-hmm. So now it's Connor Cook, the 4th round draft pick. The same round that Dak Prescott went in. So I believe it's the first time that 2 4th round rookie quarterbacks will start a playoff game. And I also think it's the first time ever probably that a rookie quarterback makes his debut in a wild card
playoff game.
Yeah. So good luck to Connor Cook, who when the draft was approaching and everybody was talking, they said, "Oh, this guy Connor Cook, he played 4 years at Michigan State. He's been a winner. He's the most pro-ready prospect. He's the most ready to play right away." So if they're right, then the Raiders, should manage to win at Houston.
Got some big shoes to fill in a pressure game, win or die game. So
I do think the Raiders are going to win too, though. Like I just had that feeling.
Who's playing in the other wild card game?
Let's see. The Giants are playing the Packers, and I like the Giants to win at Lambeau, which would make Eli Manning 3-0 at Lambeau Field in the playoffs.
I'm picking the Packers because it's at Lambeau Field.
So were those other 2 times the Giants won, and they also happened to be the other 2 years the Patriots looked incredible, and the Giants upset them in the Super Bowl. I'm just saying. There's a whole deja vu experience going on. A wild card game in Lambeau. This year.
Fucking
so maybe not,
baby.
Maybe not. The Packers are one of the hottest teams in the NFL right now, and Aaron Rodgers is playing incredible. So I just feel like the Giants have a nice all-around team, even though they don't have much of a run game. I think they have a good defense at all 3 levels, and I think they have receivers that are difficult to cover. And Eli Manning tends to be a winner in the playoffs. So. And then
we shall see how it all goes down.
The other games, Detroit is at Seattle, so Seattle's probably going to win because it's in Seattle. If it were in Detroit, I think I would pick the Lions. But since Earl Thomas has gotten hurt, that Seahawks defense has looked a lot more vulnerable, and the Seattle offense struggles to find its way. So I wouldn't be surprised by a Lions upset, but if I were a betting man, I would put my money on Seattle at home.
Yeah, I would like to see Detroit get in it, but I say Seattle wins. And then, of course, Miami's going to play the Steelers. That's the other big game.
Yeah, and I think Pittsburgh's going to win that.
Yeah, I would agree with that.
But to Adam Gase's credit, and he's former Broncos and Bears offensive coordinator, he is probably the coach of the year, man. His first year as a head coach. And he takes the Dolphins to the playoffs for the first time probably in a decade or so.
The Dolphins have not been a good team in a long time.
They started 1-4 and they finished 11-5, 10-6, 10-6 I think. But still, that's pretty special for a rookie head coach to take a team that starts 1-4 and run them to 10-6 and make the playoffs.
Yeah. We'll see how things go down. Be a good weekend.
Yeah. So. Should be. Starts Saturday at 4:00, I think.
Lots of football 3 days in a row. So you got the 2 pro days, and then we'll have Monday night college football championship game. So
should be good for football fans.
Should be. We're
lots of beer drinking and wing and pizza going on this weekend.
Yes. So other thing, couple of things real quick. Go check out Wendy's Twitter account. It's all for a good laugh. They have been just fucking roasting people on Twitter that shame them. So go check that shit out. Just Google Wendy's Twitter roasting. It'll come right up.
So don't troll Wendy's.
Yeah, for real, don't. You're gonna get schooled. CNET 2017 is going on right now, the CES. The biggest news that for you right now is Acer just unveiled this $9,000 gaming laptop, which is fucking ridiculous as fuck. 64 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM, 4 512 gigabyte SSD hard drives, and a 28.1-inch curved display. It's going to be one of the first production laptops that's going to have a curved display, so I'm interested to see it. But I will not be purchasing a $9,000 laptop. So
no,
I don't give
you know
a
the
fuck.
weird thing, Acer's known for their affordability, and then they dropped like the most expensive gaming computer.
This is going to be the most expensive laptop ever. So
yeah,
I'll be interested to see how it sells. You know, they're targeting a very limited audience with that. So for $9,000, you can build a badass regular desktop PC. You know, and for $9,000, I thought about today. I discussed it with somebody else I know. You could buy almost anything else you wanted, even a car, and buy an awesome gaming laptop on top of it. So, like, you know, you could buy a lot of shit and still have a badass gaming laptop. So, that story is over on USA
Richard Gere
Today.
paid Julia Roberts in Pretty Woman for a whole weekend.
There you go. Can get you a prostitute.
That's what I'm saying.
So go over to USA Today if you want to read about that, or just Google Acer $9,000 laptop. And then the other last big thing I want to talk about real quick is Apple removed the New York Times app per China's request. And that was over on the New York Times page, of course. So
yeah, I don't think that that's shocking because it supposedly violates some Chinese law. What's interesting would be whether or not Apple was legally forced to, or whether or not they volunteered to, because they make so much money in China.
it looks like it was a volunteer thing. Looks like they were asked to do it and they complied immediately. So
Well, right, it looks like that, but who knows if who knows the reality if there was any legal documentation served. And it's a big deal because I don't know how many folks remember, but Apple refused to unlock a iPhone for the police during that terrorist investigation.
which they shouldn't do. Like, goddamn.
Right, yeah, I'm not saying I disagree with that, but I'm saying that that's part of what makes this a big deal, because they managed this significantly different for the Chinese government versus what they did for the American government.
Yep, I agree. And I think Apple probably has a lot of money locked up in China right now. So.
Oh, I think that a majority of their money comes from China right now.
Oh, yeah.
I would not be surprised by that.
There, so, yeah.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's all I've got right now. We will probably most likely have a show on Monday, unless something crazy happens. I am going to try to move again on next Friday or Saturday. So, yeah, lots of shit going on. So, just thank God I'm not in jail. That's a story for another time.
That's right. That's right. We forgot to get that story in.
So, yeah, if you the joys of fighting for custody. I thought my days of that were over. I won custody of my kid, and then I got taken back to court this week and a little bit last week, and yeah, it is a rigged system against men. So
yeah, I don't know that fathers' fights are ever really over unless mothers just really, really, really fuck up.
So I spent a fuckload of money getting custody of my kid in the beginning, and then I got told this week that my ex-wife has proved that she's a able-bodied mother now, and so we now have joint custody. Actually, it's not.
Hey, you know what?
I wouldn't even consider it joint custody because now I have to pay child support.
I didn't really think about it earlier. You know what you should do? You should get yourself a couple titties and transgender it.
Right?
And then guess what? You could be my friend. You could be a capable female as well.
That's right. I smell an HBO documentary coming up. So, But all like I basically we have joint custody now, and I wouldn't say it's joint because I have to pay child support now, which is fucking bullshit. And I will lose all my rights and go to a visitation if I leave the state. So it's just a fucked up situation. I got really mad in court. I got held in contempt. Luckily, I just had to pay a fine, a $4,000 fine, but I didn't have to go to jail, which I thought I was going to have to. So
Right.
it's just a fucked up system, like where I felt like basically, I felt that I would never have to be in that situation again because of the whole double jeopardy thing legally, and then without the case was done. When it was done, it's literally in the ruling for my original custody. It says it will not. I have custody of my child with prejudice. If you know what that means, like that means that it can never be approached again like that. So,
There is always a loophole when it comes to the law.
there is. It's fucking bullshit. So, yeah. So I didn't have to pay child support because I had full custody of my kid. Now that I have whatever you want to call it, they call it joint custody, which is not, because now I have to pay child support, and it's not a like and it's not the money, guys. It's the whole fact, like, and I don't have to pay, and like I have to pay the full
Right,
amount as if
The
I never
concept
saw
of
my
joint
kid.
custody is like you're not taking care of the child.
Yeah, and
Or I mean, joint custody means you are. Child support means that you're paying that money because you're not taking
in
care
lieu
of
of not taking.
it.
care of it.
Yeah.
So so I get her, I get her 50% of the time, and I still have to pay child support, which it bothers me because, it's not that I don't mind. It's not the money. It's really not. It's I know what my ex is going to do with that money. It's not going to be going to my kid.
I know
as soon
she
as
ain't
we
buying
got
me nice shit with it.
as soon as we got done with it, she asked me for the payment outside the court. And I was like, it doesn't even work that way. Like, I have to pay the state, and then they will pay you. And then she's like, well, she needs clothes. And I'm like, I just looked at her and I was like, I'll buy her whatever she wants. But that this money, that's what it's supposed to be for. So it's just aggravating. It really stressed me out. I lost my temper in the courtroom. So I would urge you. I even had a lawyer. I don't know what that bill will be. I'm sure it'll be a significant amount of money. So, and then I got held in contempt. So it was a $4,000 fine because I called the judge a cunt. So,
Yep.
so it's okay. There's nothing else I can do about it. We just have to, have to go on with things. So it's just utterly
Just persevere.
heartbreaking. So it's hard on me. It's hard on me because of the timing, like middle of a move, all kinds of fucking bullshit. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to this year. It's gonna be a good year for Kill Cobra Studios.
That's right.
be good
Maybe
for
Dr. Dre will finally drop a new album.
That's right, Dre. Do
That's
us
what
all a
every
fucking
year
favor.
I hope. Every year I hope.
So
Like 3 years ago, he put a new song out, and I was like, "Oh, the album must be gonna come out." But no fucking album, Dre. Where's the album?
Lots of big things. We got some guests coming on the show this month that I'm excited about. So big things coming up after I get the move all done, and I'm sure I'll get settled in again. We'll get things rolling on a regular basis. If there's something you guys want us to talk about, please let us know in the comment section if you're watching this later on. Interact with us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. Appreciate all the new love. YouTube has told us to basically go fuck ourselves with our views. But I appreciate all the love I've seen on my gaming videos lately. So I've got the other night I got 300 plus views on one of my videos. So I was glad to see that.
Oh damn! Yeah, that's
So-
awesome.
Keep them coming. Share this shit with your friends, guys. It's only gonna get better. And the only way we can get better, if you don't like what you see, is just to tell us. We're open to constructive
Right.
criticism.
Or even if you like what we're doing, if there are specific stories you would like us to talk about, or things going on, let us know, and we can talk about those things on the show.
Yeah.
So
Absolutely. So I'm done with my rant. I'm gonna be fine. Don't anybody worry about me. I promise I'll bounce back from this. I love all of you. So, anything else, Bo?
no, That all sounded good to me. I mean, you got the peanut butter and the dog, right? So you won't be too lonely.
Again, shout out to BoobTube Buddies. Go check out their show, their Twitter and all that good shit. So they're good. They're good people over there. They have an awesome podcast. They talk about different stuff than we do. So I encourage you to go over there and get your fill of them. Show them some love and tell them that Doc and Bo sent you. So, that's it. 2017 is where we did it. We're here. So think for your motherfucking self and question everything. And we'll see you next Monday on the Slightly Nocturnal Show.
Y'all take it easy.
Laters.